The house at the end of Pine Street felt smaller than it used to be. Anna noticed it every morning when sunlight slipped through the thin curtains. The rooms were clean and quiet and carried a heavy stillness. Furniture stayed in the same place because there was no reason to move it. The air held memories of laughter that no longer came easily. Ben lay on a special bed placed near the living room window. The bed faced outside so he could see the world move without him. He was 12 years old and his body felt older than his years. An accident 2 winters ago had changed everything in a single moment. Since then his legs no longer responded to his thoughts. Doctors explained things in calm voices and careful words. They talked about nerves and healing and patience. Anna listened and nodded and held Ben's hand the entire time. She believed the doctors, but she also saw what numbers could not explain. Her son was losing his spark. Ben used to talk all the time before the accident. He asked questions about everything and laughed loudly at simple jokes. He loved playing outside and racing his friends down the street. Now his days passed slowly and quietly. He spoke only when necessary and kept his eyes on the floor or the window. Anna worked long shifts at the local grocery store. She stood on her feet for hours and smiled at customers. At night she returned home tired but determined. She cooked meals and cleaned and checked on Ben constantly. Still she felt she was failing him in some unseen way. Every evening Anna wheeled Ben closer to the window. Cars passed by and neighbors walked their dogs. Children rode bikes and laughed as they turned the corner. Ben watched silently with his hands resting on his lap. His face showed no anger, only a quiet distance. One afternoon Anna noticed Ben staring longer than usual. A small dog across the street was chasing a fallen leaf. The dog ran in circles and jumped and barked with joy. Ben followed the movement with his eyes. His lips twitched as if remembering something from another life. Anna felt a tight pull in her chest. She remembered Ben begging for a dog years ago. She had always said maybe later or when things were easier. Now later had arrived in a way she never imagined. The thought stayed with her for the rest of the day. That night the house felt heavier than normal. Ben fell asleep early with the television playing softly. Anna sat alone at the kitchen table with a cold cup of tea. She replayed the therapist's words from weeks before. Connection can bring movement where fear has settled. Anna thought about what Ben had lost. He lost his freedom and his routine and his sense of control. He lost the feeling that tomorrow might be better than today. She wondered how to give that feeling back to him. The answer did not come easily. Over the next few days Anna watched Ben closely. She noticed how his eyes followed movement more than sound. She noticed how he reacted to animals on television. His face softened when dogs appeared on the screen. Something quiet inside him seemed to wake up. Anna started researching late at night. She read about therapy animals and emotional support. She read stories of children finding comfort in small companions. Most stories felt too hopeful or unrealistic. Still the idea would not leave her mind. Money was tight and time was limited. Anna counted her savings more than once. She worried about responsibility and costs and extra work. Then she looked at Ben sleeping peacefully. Her doubts began to fade. On a gray morning Anna made up her mind. She dressed Ben and prepared his breakfast as usual. She kissed his forehead and promised she would be back soon. Ben nodded without much interest. He had learned not to expect surprises. Anna walked out the door with a mix of fear and hope. She drove across town toward a small animal shelter. The building was simple and worn but welcoming. Dogs barked from behind fences and wagged their tails. Anna felt nervous as she stepped inside. A volunteer greeted her with a kind smile. Anna explained her situation carefully and honestly. She spoke about Ben and his injury and his silence. She did not ask for miracles or guarantees. She asked only for a chance. They walked past rows of waiting animals. Some barked loudly and jumped against their gates. Others sat quietly watching as people passed by. Then Anna saw a small brown dog sitting calmly. The dog lifted its head and met her eyes. The dog did not bark or jump. It simply wagged its tail once and stayed still. Anna knelt down and reached out slowly. The dog leaned forward and rested its nose on her hand. In that moment, Anna felt something settle inside her. The volunteer explained that the dog had been overlooked. He was gentle and patient and good with children. No one knew his full history, but his behavior spoke clearly. Anna listened and nodded with growing certainty. Her decision was already made. She completed the paperwork with shaking hands. She paid the fee and accepted the small cardboard box. Inside the box the dog waited quietly. Anna thanked the volunteer and stepped back outside. The sky looked brighter than it had all morning. As Anna drove home, her heart raced. She wondered how Ben would react. She feared disappointment more than anything else. Still, she felt a quiet confidence guiding her. Some choices come from love rather than logic. The house on Pine Street looked the same as always. Anna parked the car and took a deep breath. She lifted the box and walked inside. Ben was awake and staring at the ceiling. Everything was about to change. Anna stepped inside the house slowly while holding the cardboard box close to her chest. The door closed softly behind her and the familiar quiet returned for a moment. Ben turned his head when he heard the sound of the door. He looked at the box with mild curiosity but no strong reaction. Anna took a breath and moved closer to him. She placed the box gently on the floor near Ben's bed. Ben raised his eyebrows slightly and asked what it was. Anna smiled and told him it was something special. She knelt down and carefully opened the top of the box. The small brown dog looked up with calm eyes. The dog did not bark or jump out quickly. It waited as if asking for permission. Ben leaned forward a little in his bed. His hands tightened around the blanket. His eyes stayed fixed on the dog. The dog slowly stepped out of the box. It sniffed the floor and looked around the room. Then it turned its head toward Ben. For a moment, both stayed completely still. The air felt different, as if something new had entered the room. The dog walked closer to Ben without fear. It stopped right in front of the bed and sat down. Its tail moved gently from side to side. Ben's breathing became uneven as he watched. Anna held her breath and said nothing. Ben slowly reached out his hand. His fingers shook as they moved forward. The dog leaned in and touched its nose to his hand. A soft warmth passed between them. Ben let out a small laugh without realizing it. The sound surprised both of them. Anna's eyes filled with tears instantly. She had not heard that sound in months. Ben pulled his hand back and then reached out again. This time he stroked the dog's head carefully. The dog closed its eyes and stayed still. It accepted Ben's touch without moving away. Ben smiled and looked up at Anna. His smile was unsure but real. He asked if the dog was his. Anna nodded and told him yes. She said the dog was there to stay. Ben looked back at the dog as if afraid it might disappear. He asked what the dog's name was. Anna said they could choose together. Ben thought for a moment. He looked at the dog's bright eyes and calm face. He said the name Max felt right. Anna repeated the name softly. Max wagged his tail faster as if he agreed. From that moment Max stayed close to Ben. He followed Anna around the house for a while. Then he returned to Ben and lay near his bed. He watched Ben carefully as if learning his shape. Ben talked to him quietly using short sentences. That evening Anna cooked dinner while watching them. Ben told Max about school and old friends. His voice was low but steady. Max listened with his head tilted slightly. The house felt warmer than before. During dinner Ben asked to keep Max near him. Anna placed a small mat beside the bed. Max lay down and rested his head on it. Ben ate more than he had in weeks. Anna noticed every small change. That night Ben had trouble sleeping. Max stood up and walked closer to the bed. He rested his head near Ben's hand. Ben reached out and held the dog gently. His breathing slowly became calm. Days passed and Max became part of the routine. He followed Ben during morning stretches. He waited patiently during meals. He stayed close during quiet afternoons. Ben began waking up earlier than usual. Anna noticed Ben asking for his wheelchair more often. He wanted to move around the house with Max. Max walked beside the chair at Ben's pace. Sometimes he stopped and waited if Ben stopped. Their movements began to match naturally. Neighbors started noticing changes too. They saw Ben outside more often. They saw him smiling while Max sat beside him. Some waved and some stopped to talk. Ben answered them more than before. One afternoon, Anna returned from work early. She expected to find Ben watching television. Instead, she found him talking to Max seriously. He was explaining a show as if Max understood everything. Anna listened from the hallway quietly. Ben's voice sounded stronger. It carried curiosity again. He laughed when Max tilted his head. Anna felt her heart lift slightly. This was the son she remembered. Therapy sessions became different too. Ben complained less and tried harder. Max waited near the door during exercises. Ben looked at him for encouragement. Sometimes that was enough to keep going. Anna noticed something else as well. Ben began moving his legs slightly without noticing. The movement was small and unplanned. At first she thought it was her imagination. Then she saw it again. Ben shrugged when she mentioned it. He said he did not feel much yet. Still, his body reacted more than before. Doctors had said progress could be slow. Anna felt hope growing quietly inside her. One afternoon, Anna needed to step out briefly. She made sure Ben was comfortable. She left Max in the room with him. She told Ben she would be back soon. Ben nodded and continued talking to Max. While Anna was gone, Ben tried to reach a book. It had fallen just out of reach. Max stood up and moved closer to the bed. He barked softly and looked at Ben. Ben smiled and leaned forward slightly. As he leaned, he felt a strange sensation. It was faint but unfamiliar. His feet pressed lightly against the floor. Ben froze and looked down. Max stayed still, watching him closely. Ben's heart began to race. He placed his hands on the side of the bed. He was not sure what he was feeling. The moment passed quickly, but left him shaken. Something inside him had changed. When Anna returned, Ben said nothing yet. He watched Max quietly instead. Max rested his head near Ben's leg again. The house seemed calm on the surface. But underneath, something powerful was beginning to grow. The next morning, Ben woke up earlier than usual and felt restless inside. Sunlight touched the edge of his bed and filled the room softly. Max was already awake and sitting beside him quietly. Ben looked down at his legs and remembered the strange feeling from yesterday. His heart beat faster as the memory returned clearly. Anna entered the room with breakfast and noticed Ben was awake. She smiled and said good morning in a gentle voice. Ben answered quickly, which surprised her. He looked serious and asked if she could help him sit up. Anna moved closer immediately and supported his back. As Ben sat up, he felt that same faint pressure again. His feet brushed the floor lightly. Max stood up and moved closer to Ben's legs. The dog pressed his body gently against Ben's knees. Ben held his breath and focused deeply. Anna noticed the change in Ben's face. She asked if he was feeling tired. Ben shook his head slowly and said something felt different. His voice sounded unsure but hopeful. Anna knelt beside him and watched closely. Ben placed his hands on the edge of the bed. His arms trembled slightly under the effort. Max stayed close and did not move away. Ben tried to push his body forward just a little. His legs responded with a small movement. Anna gasped quietly and covered her mouth. She did not want to distract him. Ben felt the movement clearly this time. It was not strong, but it was real. Tears filled his eyes without warning. Anna whispered his name softly. She told him to stop if it hurt. Ben said it did not hurt at all. He said it felt strange but good. Max wagged his tail slowly, as if sensing the moment. After breakfast, Anna called the doctor. She explained what she had seen very carefully. The doctor listened and asked several questions. He said progress could happen in small, unexpected ways. He suggested coming in for an evaluation soon. Ben felt nervous for the rest of the day. He kept thinking about his legs. Max stayed close and followed him everywhere. Whenever Ben felt unsure, he looked at Max. The dog's calm presence helped him breathe easier. That afternoon, Anna helped Ben transfer to the wheelchair. Ben asked if he could try standing with support. Anna hesitated but agreed carefully. She placed her hands firmly around his waist. Max stood directly in front of Ben. Ben slowly lowered his feet to the floor. His legs shook immediately under the weight. He felt fear rising inside him. Max barked softly and leaned forward. Ben focused on Max's eyes. He pushed down with his arms and tried to lift himself. His legs trembled and bent slightly. For a moment nothing happened. Then his body rose just enough to surprise him. He was not fully standing, but he was off the bed. Anna cried quietly while holding him steady. She told him he was doing great. Ben felt exhausted and dropped back down quickly. His heart pounded in his chest. Max stayed close and licked his hand. They did not try again that day. Anna did not want to push him too hard. Ben rested, but his mind stayed awake. He kept replaying the moment again and again. Hope began to replace fear slowly. Over the next week, small changes continued. Ben practiced small movements during therapy. Max attended every session patiently. Ben pushed himself harder than before. Therapists noticed his increased effort. One therapist asked about the dog. Anna explained how Max had changed Ben's attitude. The therapist nodded and smiled knowingly. Motivation often opens doors the body forgot. Ben listened closely to every word. At home, Ben began trying to shift his weight more. Anna supported him carefully each time. Max stayed in front of him like a guide. Ben trusted Max more than anything. That trust made the effort feel safer. One evening, Anna was preparing dinner in the kitchen. She heard a strange sound from the living room. It sounded like a chair scraping the floor. Her heart jumped instantly. She ran toward the sound without thinking. Ben was gripping the side of the couch tightly. His face was red with effort and focus. Max stood in front of him firmly. Ben's feet were flat on the floor. His knees were shaking but holding. Anna froze at the doorway. She was afraid to move or speak. Ben looked up and saw her watching. His eyes were wide with fear and excitement. He said he could feel his legs clearly. Max barked once and leaned closer. Ben pushed harder with his arms. His body lifted higher than before. For a brief moment he was standing. Not steady but real and undeniable. Anna rushed forward and supported him immediately. She laughed and cried at the same time. Ben lowered himself back onto the couch carefully. His breathing was fast and uneven. Max wagged his tail wildly. They sat there in silence afterward. Anna held Ben tightly. Ben rested his forehead against her shoulder. He whispered that he did not want to stop trying. Anna promised they would keep going. That night Ben could not sleep. His body felt tired, but his mind raced. Max lay beside his bed, watching him. Ben reached down and touched the dog's head. He thanked Max softly. In the days that followed, doctors confirmed progress. They explained the importance of consistency and care. They warned that recovery would still take time. Ben listened patiently and did not feel discouraged. He finally believed effort mattered. Neighbors began hearing the news slowly. Some visited and offered encouragement. Others simply smiled when they saw Ben outside. Ben stood a little taller each day with support. Max never left his side. Anna watched her son change before her eyes. His sadness no longer filled the room. Determination replaced silence. The house felt alive again. Something powerful was unfolding. Ben knew the road ahead would be long. He knew setbacks could still happen. But he also knew he was not alone. Max was there every step. And hope had finally found its way back into his life. Months passed, and the house on Pine Street no longer felt silent or heavy. Morning light now brought energy instead of stillness. Ben woke up with purpose and plans for the day. Max was always the first to greet him. The dog waited patiently beside the bed every morning. Anna noticed how routines slowly changed. Ben asked to practice standing before breakfast. He focused carefully and followed instructions with determination. His legs were still weak but stronger than before. Each small improvement filled him with pride. Therapy sessions became a central part of Ben's life. He prepared for them the night before. He talked about goals instead of fears. Max attended every session like a loyal partner. Therapists smiled when they saw the dog. Ben practiced balance with support bars. His knees shook but did not give up easily. Max stayed close and calm. Whenever Ben lost focus, he looked at Max. That simple connection helped him push forward. Doctors tracked Ben's progress carefully. They explained that recovery was still uncertain. They warned that improvement could slow at times. Ben listened without losing hope. He understood patience better now. At home, Anna rearranged furniture to give Ben more space. She added safety supports where needed. Ben practiced moving between surfaces. Each movement felt like a small victory. Max followed closely and watched every step. Neighbors began stopping by more often. They asked how Ben was doing. They praised his effort and courage. Ben answered confidently and smiled often. The boy who once avoided conversation now welcomed it. One afternoon Ben stood with support longer than ever before. His legs burned with effort. Sweat covered his forehead. Max stood still and focused on him. Ben refused to sit down until he finished. Anna watched with quiet pride. She remembered the days when Ben would not even try. She saw strength growing not only in his body but in his spirit. Her faith in the future returned slowly. Hope now lived in their home. Ben began attending short outdoor therapy sessions. Fresh air lifted his mood. He practiced standing near the porch. Max sat beside him in the sun. Neighbors watched and cheered softly. There were difficult days too. Some mornings Ben felt tired and frustrated. His legs did not always respond the same way. On those days Max stayed extra close. Ben learned rest was also part of progress. Anna learned to balance encouragement with patience. She reminded Ben to listen to his body. She never rushed him. Her support stayed steady and calm. Ben trusted her completely. One evening Ben stood holding onto the couch. He felt more control than before. His legs held his weight longer. Max sat nearby watching proudly. Anna counted seconds quietly. When Ben finally sat down he laughed. It was a deep and joyful sound. Anna joined him and laughed too. The house echoed with warmth. Those moments mattered more than any measurement. Ben began helping with small tasks. He folded clothes while sitting. He organized books within reach. He felt useful again. That feeling strengthened his confidence. Max became well known in the neighborhood. Children waved when they saw him. Adults praised his calm nature. Ben enjoyed introducing Max to everyone. The dog became a symbol of change. One morning Ben surprised Anna. He asked if he could try standing without holding her hands. Anna hesitated but agreed carefully. She stayed close and ready. Max stood directly in front of Ben. Ben focused and pushed himself up. His legs shook violently. He wobbled but did not fall. For a brief moment he stood on his own. Anna gasped softly. Ben quickly sat back down. His heart raced wildly. His face showed disbelief and joy. Anna hugged him tightly. Max barked happily. Doctors later praised Ben's effort. They explained that mental strength played a big role. They encouraged continued therapy. Ben felt motivated instead of pressured. He trusted the process now. Weeks turned into more months. Ben gained better balance and control. Walking aids became part of training. Progress was slow but steady. Max remained a constant presence. Anna watched her son grow stronger daily. She felt grateful for every step forward. She often thought about that first day at the shelter. That single decision had changed everything. Sometimes the smallest choices carry the biggest impact. One afternoon Ben sat outside watching Max play. The dog chased leaves just like that first one Ben saw long ago. Ben smiled quietly at the memory. Life had come full circle. Pain had made space for hope. Ben rested his hands on his legs thoughtfully. He no longer saw them as lifeless. He saw potential and strength. He believed in tomorrow again. That belief fueled his journey.